I'll warm you up in my trademark rapid fire, but I call it T20 since we mostly do, cricket interviews. So this will give us an idea of what you've been up to during the lockdown and what your plans are going forward. So, you know the drill. One word answers is what I'm looking for. So what's been tough for you to manage in this lockdown? I know you have a young son and a young dog at home. Who's been the tougher one to manage?
The pup.
The pup. I can imagine. They take time to train. I have a very old one myself at home. Okay. If someone comes to the Uthappa household and you can offer them just one thing to make an impression, what will you pick? Will you give them a freshly brewed coffee from your house, or will you pick a nice bakery item? What would you pick?
Coffee for sure, hands down. We make a really mean filter coffee at home, so coffee for sure.
Yeah, I know someone who has some connections with Kurd has to make some good coffee. So I thought as much you'd pick that. Okay, now rank these languages. I know you can speak multiple languages. Now rank these languages based on your command over them, starting with the best, between English, Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, Kodwa, and Tamil. Rank them, the best one first and the one that you're not comfortable with the last.
English, Kannada, Kurgi, Hindi, Malayalam.
Okay. Hindi came ahead of Malayalam. I'm sure your mom's not going to forgive you for that. Okay.
No,
now
I think all Malayalis will forgive me for that because it's a very complex language, even physically to speak, right? And you have to if you don't speak it consistently, because the tongue turns in a certain way, it rounds up in your mouth in a certain way. So it takes practice. So even when I go back to speaking Malayalam with someone, it takes me a day or two of conversing with someone to actually kind of get back in the flow. Okay, now my pronunciations are slightly better.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give that one to you. Okay. Now, the one cricket friend that you've spoken to most often during this lockdown over the phone.
Over the phone? Shreyas Gopal. Shreyas lives very close by, and so Shreyas and I have been spending a lot of time together as well. We train together as well. So he's down I'm spending a lot of time with. So Shreyas, and Varun is a neighbor. Varun Aaron's a neighbor. So we're literally in the west. I have two royals in my own vicinity. So I spend a lot of time with.
Okay, I hope you haven't broken the lockdown rules and paid a visit to either one of them.
No, we haven't. We haven't as neighbors. So we're in the same building, so we can't not see each other. But we meet each other in the gym and all for the most part. So, but we're good. Yeah, we're following the lockdown rules for the most part.
All right. Now, I know you're wearing a cap, but I'll still ask you that question. What's the secret behind Robin's new thick hairstyle or the hair that he's got?
Well, I'm wearing a cap because it's a mess, Nikhil.
Okay.
the hair's a mess. It's growing. I plan to grow it out.
Okay.
And since I'm growing it out, it's actually become a little bit of a, it's in between phase where it's either here nor there kind of a situation. So unless I kind of style it, doesn't sit. So that's why the cap. But I got a procedure done a few years ago, and it takes its own time to kind of grow and look after it. And I lost a lot of hair between 2009, 2013. So I was going through a lot of personal stuff, so a lot of stress, and I lost a lot of my hair. But then a couple of procedures later, it's come back to normal, and now it's about maintaining it for as long as I can.
I don't know if you want to pay heed to the number of requests. I'm seeing a few comments. Everyone wants to see your curly hair, but that's your call totally. Okay.
Like this.
There.
I'm going to right back on because it's not great.
All right. Oh, that's good enough. At least oblige your fans. Okay. Yeah. Which is the better web series pick? And I'm guessing you've seen both, between The Last Dance and The Test.
Oh man. The Last Dance.
The Last Dance. Okay. I know a lot of them would have picked that. Okay. If not cricket, what's the other sport that you enjoy watching on TV? I know you like a lot of other sports, between hockey, tennis, basketball. What's that one other sport that you enjoy most?
Tennis and basketball in that order.
Tennis and basketball. Okay. Right. Name your favorite hockey player at the moment. Could be an Indian, international, anyone.
My favorite hockey player at the moment.
There's a goalkeeper who's Malayali, and he's that way.
Yeah.
PR Srijesh. I don't know if.
No, I know Srijesh pretty well, but I think my one of my favorites have always been Len Ayappa
Yeah. Yeah.
An amazing drag flicker, someone who played for India for a while, and poor thing went through a lot of. I think you think you have politics in every sport, right? And kind of missed out because of that, and unfortunately, had to cut short his career and when he played as a pro in different parts of the world. But he's someone that I've truly admired, watching play. But so after him, I haven't really followed football because since my dad's
hockey.
My dad's a former international hockey referee. I know the ins and outs of how these things work. So I took a little bit of a back step after that. But the present Lord Shigesh, I think, is someone who inspires the team to do really well. So let's go with Shigesh.
Okay, Shigesh it is. Okay. Your most memorable IPL stint was with which team? Between Mumbai, Bangalore, Kolkata, Pune?
KKR, hands down, because of the memories I've created with that franchise. But I really enjoyed RCB as well. Yeah, I have to say that my couple of years with RCB were phenomenal. In as much as playing in front of my home crowd and performing in front of them, and doing really well for RCB. I have to say, but I also have to say, my time with Pune Warriors had a lot to do with helping me mature as a cricketer, because you after a point when you stack up performances. I think for 3 years when I played with that franchise, I was in the top 10 run getters in the IPL. And despite having good performances, we didn't make it past the top 7. I think, right? We were always in the bottom 2 or 3. So that taught me a lot mentally how to keep fighting through difficult situations, and helped me mature a lot as a cricketer.
Funny you say that, because just a few days ago I'd interviewed Yuvraj Singh and I asked him to pick one of his favorite IPL teams, and he picked Pune too. I mean, saying that we didn't win a lot of games with Pune, but it was a team that I really enjoyed. He said that. I'll move over to your career now. Recent interviews. I've been reading a few of your recent interviews on websites as well as on social media platforms, and I get that impression that you now really want you to be seen as a wicketkeeper batsman. It's something that you've been stressing on. Firstly, is that impression correct? After reading a few of your comments, that you want to now, you were always a wicketkeeper batsman, but more so even now you want to be recognized as one? Yeah.
Well, I think especially in T20, in limited format of the game, I've always, seen myself as a better bet and someone who can add a lot more value to any, playing 11. Given the fact that I can keep wickets and bat wherever the team requires me to bat. I think that's the USP that I bring in, and that's the USP that I also brought in to KKR when I came into that side, the Pune Warriors, to RCB as well, which helped them, play an extra skilled player within the group. I always saw that as a utility in me, in what I could do on the field. I definitely missed keeping the last couple of years that I played in the IPL with KKR. Because I think that's the best part where you can add a lot of value to your team. And for me, I'd gotten used to that spot. And, when DK came in and DK started keeping, it obviously meant I had to go and field. But keeping is something I was so used to doing in the IPL. Fielding suddenly feels a little alien. And especially in the limited format of the game. And it's just something that I feel most comfortable with in the limited format of the game. And I truly believe I'm very confident of my skills behind the wicket. And for me, I think it's something that comes slightly naturally. So I feel like I give myself a good chance with keeping that option open at all times. Even given the fact that today, currently in the Rajasthan Royals side, we have 3 keepers with the group outside of me, right? But if the team wants me to do the job, I'll be more than happy to don the gloves again behind the stumps.
But that was my next question. But do you still see yourself in the Rajasthan setup as of now as still a backup keeper in case one of those 3, based on the combination that a team goes with the 11, that's when you will be keeping, and most times you may just be the fielder with the likes of Sanju Samson and Joss Butler in your team?
Well, I think Sanju also gives himself an opportunity to play in the Indian team also because of his keeping abilities, right? So obviously, if not Joss, then they'd look at Sanju, and then I think they would look at me. And in all honesty, so I see myself doing a lot more fielding for the Royals than than keeping. But if ever, like I said, if ever the opportunity arises, then I'd jump on it, man, for sure.
Okay, there's that other thing that stays in your mind. I recently saw one of your interviews where you said that probably you still have another World Cup left in you. Do you also see the current Indian setup and an opportunity there for a wicketkeeper batsman? Because since MS Dhoni is not been playing the shorter format, there seems to be like this void that has been left, and there's no particular permanent wicketkeeper batsman as such. And the Indian team has been experimenting. Is that something in your mind that, if need be, I could be that option?
Yeah, for sure. As in, there are exceptional guys, batsmen there who are donning the gloves at the moment. KL's doing a fantastic job with it. He seems to have become a little bit. Seems to look like he's become a little bit more natural with his keeping skills.
Yeah.
And he's obviously clearly he's doing some work behind the stumps, which is why he seems so much better today with the gloves. DK is someone who's done well for India in the T20 format of the game. So, there are. As in, when I've every time I played for the Indian team, I've made myself completely available in whatever shape or form they need me. I've never batted in more than one position when I played for the Indian team in more than 3 innings. Every 4th innings, I batted at a different position. And for me, when I'm representing my country, I'm all in. And as a person itself, I'm an all in or nothing kind of person. So for me, when I'm playing for my country and wearing those blues, then for me, whatever the team needs me to do, I'm happy to do. I'm willing to do it. Whether it's keeping, batting in the middle order, batting in the top order, batting at the top of the order, opening the batting, I'm game.
Okay, just talking about your batting in particular, and correct me if I'm wrong, one did see a change of technique during the IPL a few seasons ago. Firstly, was that a conscious effort? And secondly, would you now go back to the Robin Uthappa old, which didn't use that particular technique? For someone like me from the outside, it seemed like that technique was more suited for the longer format. Firstly, am I correct? And if it is, would you want to now change back to the Robin of old?
Well, yeah. So I actually made that change in my technique because, Nikhil, I wanted to pursue my childhood dream of playing cricket for India in the Test format, in the longest format of the game. And I knew that there were some chinks in my armor that I needed to fix, and there was a gap in the technique that I needed to close. And for me, I spent a couple of years overhauling my technique to suit the longest format of the game, knowing fully well that I'm going to be compromising on the aggressive bit of my game. I'm going to be compromising on the power that I had in my game, because the change of technique definitely made me a lot more consistent with my scores. With the change of technique, I still went on to win the orange cap in the IPL while opening the batting. But with that technique, batting down the order, could I be successful? I highly doubt it, because that technique supported timing the ball a lot more than playing with power, which is why I kind of struggled. I think in the last season for KKR, because my technique wasn't suited for batting in the last 4 or 5 overs of an innings, and which is why I've been working on my game personally on my own game, because internally, despite having changed my technique and scoring a lot of runs, internally, I was going through a lot of conflict, Nikhil. I was going through a lot of conflict because internally, I'm as a player, as a person, I'm an aggressive human being. I like to take the attack. I like to dominate bowling attacks. So internally, even when I was being consistent in scoring runs while timing the ball and looking good, internally I was going through a lot of conflict because I wasn't feeling at peace with the way I was playing my game. And then I think after the age of 32 is when I felt like, maybe now is the time. A couple of years ago is when I decided that now is the time for me to shift back to my game, go back to who I originally was, and finish playing the game as I came into the game, as a dominating batsman who could take down bowling attacks, who could score runs at will, who could play shots at will. And it's taken me a year and a half, a couple of seasons to get there, but I feel like I'm there right now. And it's something that I'm truly looking forward to, portraying out there on the field, and looking forward to, adding value to my team, be it Kerala, be it Rajasthan Royals, be it the Indian team, wherever I play. I want to be able to add that value to my team with the way I play, and I'm really excited about where I'm at, and I'm really looking forward to playing some matches.
All right.
This lockdown has come at a very bad time.
No, I can imagine. But the good thing is that things are looking up. We're getting newer updates from the Ministry of Home Affairs, and maybe things may open up soon, so that IPL may still be around the corner for all you know. But there's one thing that you mentioned. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone who's commenting, and we're getting great comments for Robin and the discussion. So thanks so much for all of you who are watching, and a big hi to all of you.
Shout out to my Kerala fast bowlers, Basil
Yeah.
Kambi and Mohammad Asif. How are you doing, boys? Thanks for coming in. We'll catch up soon.
Yeah. Okay. Just getting back to a thing that you mentioned, Robin, earlier in the interview about being a student of the game. So now I want to ask that student of the game that when he gets that first opportunity, and we are talking about IPL, as and when that happens, the Rajasthan squad will get together. You may have the likes of Smith and Butler and Stokes around you, people who are in great form in international cricket. So as a student of the game, I'm sure you're going to pick their brains. What's that one thing that you're going to be talking to, let's say, a Steve Smith, for example?
Well, for me, I'm someone who observes a lot of people. For me, I see myself as an observer of people, and I've learned a lot by observing people's attitudes, people's skills, people's routines and behaviors in the dressing room. I've learned a lot like that from Rahul Dravid and Sachin Tendulkar, and being in the dressing room, being fortunate enough to share the dressing room with the likes of these greats. I've been able to learn a lot from these people about their work ethic, and I think that's what I pick up. I think first I'll observe, and then when I see what I observe, and there are things that I feel I have doubts about, or I want to clarify something, or something I feel I can learn something about, then I'll reach out to them and I'll ask them a few questions. But I think initially I'd like to observe and see what I can pick up from them. If I probably have the same work ethic, if I probably have the same routines, because success at the international format, you need to have certain things going for you. You need to be able to have confidence. That's one thing that you need to have at all times. You need to have conviction in your own ability, and which builds your confidence. You need to have routines, I think, which carries you forward, which gives you a sense of familiarity every time you go out to bat, and you need to be able to visualize well. And these are aspects that I think everyone who succeeded at the highest level have been doing it voluntarily or involuntarily. So I think these aspects is what I look out for, and I've seen all the greats, even guys like UV and all that. He had routines, before he went out of bat, and you could pick them up, and you'd see that when he's batting well, he followed certain routines that he did, and then he just repeat those routines over and over and over and over again. And these are things that you pick up, and these are things that I've seen and picked up from the greats of the game. And I think this is what. And then every time I felt like maybe I can ask him something about this, which I also relate to my game, and that's when I go and ask questions. So I think that's what I'll do initially, and I don't limit this to just great players. I do this with everyone that I play with. I observe everyone's work ethic. Like Russell had a certain work ethic before he went out of bat. He had a certain routine before he went out of bat. DK had a certain routine. He's got a certain routine before he goes out to bat. Shubman Gill's got a certain routine. Similarly, Yashasvi will have a certain routine. Jaiswal will have a certain routine. Shreyas Gopal will have a certain routine. So it's about picking up these routines. And some of these youngsters, you can actually help them out. When you see them, moving away from their routines, you can just remind them and say, you did this when you were doing this when you were doing well. Maybe you can try that out and see if it works for you again. You can help guys out as well, and you can also learn a lot of things from them. And see if it actually applies. Once it applies to you, then you try it out. If it works, it works.
All right, great advice, because we're getting a few questions about, budding cricketers who are asking, what should I do when I'm out of form? And I think this answer should sum it up and help everyone who's been struggling. Last few questions to go, Robin. Firstly, one question I have, and this is about your teammate at Saurashtra and now your teammate at Rajasthan Royals, Jaydev Unadkat. What I would like to know from you, whenever we now look at, because we've got like a big bench strength of fast bowlers. Whenever we talk about the longer format, we discuss various names, but Jaydev's name is someone that's not really coming up, whether it's in the media or wherever it's within the commentators. What do you make of Jaydev Unadkat, especially in the Ranji Trophy? You observed him closely when you were playing for Saurashtra, and this season he's ended up as the highest wicket taker. Do you think sometimes we make the mistake of confusing formats? Sometimes, taking a look at maybe not so great IPL performances and then equating it for when you're looking at as a test player?
We've done that always, Nikhil. I think
selection in that sense has been quite challenging, and it's a little frustrating and defeating for cricketers when they do so well for themselves in Ranji Trophy or on first class cricket. They get picked up for T20 cricket, and you worked on all of your skills to pick up wickets in a 4-day game, then you get picked up to perform in a one day or T20 game, and it's not like they don't want to do that, but the prowess that they possess is in another format. And I think if we analyze that a little bit, that would be great. That would give a lot of confidence to, like, any player would feel so much more assured when they get picked in the format that they've been doing well. So for them, it's all about replicating the process all over again. It's not about, okay, I have to shift my thinking. It's a white ball. It's a different ball. It's not going to swing after a few overs. So what are my options? If he's playing red ball cricket successfully, like he's taken 65, 66 wickets in this year's Ranji Trophy. If he goes ahead and plays red ball cricket, I'm certain that he won't have any difficulties adjusting to red ball cricket or knowing his game plan, so to speak. Because everyone's got a game plan, right, when you're playing at the highest level. Yeah. So he'll know what his go-to deliveries are, his rhythm. He'll be so familiar with the rhythm because he's gotten so successful in that format over the last 12 months. And he's put in a lot of work. The guy's got an excellent work ethic and someone who's got a great belief system. He's a very convicted human being. He believes in his abilities a lot. And Jaydev is someone who's genuinely believed that he will play for India again, and he wants to play for India again. And his hunger to also win Ranji Trophy has been immense. The 2 years I spent with Saurashtra, they have amazing things going for them. They have a great group of boys who are earnest, are hardworking, and who uplift each other. So I was 100% certain that they are a Ranji Trophy win away. And the 2 years I was with them, the first year we were Vijay Hazare runners-up. The second year we were Ranji Trophy runners-up. So I was pretty certain that their win is not far away. And I was so glad that Jaydev was able to power them to such a victory, even with his performances. And I know personally that he was someone who worked on his bowling, his run-up, because from my understanding, he had a run-up that made him lose energy that he could put into his delivery on the last one or two strikes. Right. So he changed run-up so that he'd have maximum energy at the point of release, and that takes a while, Nikhil, to kind of develop. And he spent that time developing that skill, and the results are there to see. And I believe for someone who's put in that kind of work to be your highest wicket taker in Ranji Trophy, should literally walk into a test side the next time India's playing test matches. Give him an opportunity, make him bowl at the best batsman in the Indian setup, and see how he stacks up against them. If he stacks up well against them, give him an opportunity, give him a go. He deserves it because he's put in the yards. So he definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
It's not a joke for a fast bowler to take 65 wickets in these conditions.
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
Yep. Incredible.
It's a lot of
Yep, incredible numbers, which is why I put that question to you. And since you work so closely with him, finally, there's one thing that Robin Uthappa's name now is being discussed after an Instagram chat between you had Irfan Pathan and Suresh Raina, and they were of the opinion that there are so many young players who are not making the cut in the international level or for the Indian team, but why not look at allowing them, players like Robin Uthappa, allow them to play global T20 leagues wherever that might be, whether it's in Australia, Bangladesh, wherever that happens. What are your thoughts on it? And as a player who that you probably, I'd say, are probably nearer to the end of your career than the start. I'd like to put it that way. Would you think that that's a good idea?
Well, this is something that has been an ongoing discussion for almost the last 4 or 5 years with me. I myself have gone to the board when a few years ago and requested permission if this could happen, because I went there as a student of the game and I said to them, listen, I really want to grow as an athlete, as a cricketer, and I truly believe me playing in different conditions would help me to grow and better myself as a cricketer. If not for now, at least even after I finish playing cricket, it's going to serve me because I've actually played in different conditions, so I'll be able to add value. So tomorrow, if I decide to take up coaching, then I will actually have first-hand knowledge of what I've experienced in different conditions, so as to add value to my to the team that I'm working with at that point in time, right? I'm talking about 5, 7, 10 years down the line. But if I don't have the experience, on what places will I be able to share that with them, right? For me, and for that, you need to have that exposure. So we're not saying, give us permission to go everywhere. We understand the value that IPL has brought into our lives, our families, to our nation, so to speak. But denying us the opportunity to grow as human beings, as cricketers, it's something that we've earnestly hoped and believed that the BCCI will look into, because we're non-contracted players, right? Even if you look at it from a financial standpoint, we would earn more from the experience of playing there than financially, because we earn so much here from the IPL that what we earn outside, thank God for it, would not be of as much value as the experience of actually playing there in different conditions. For instance, playing in Australia. For instance, playing in England, T20 cricket in England. For instance, playing T20 cricket in New Zealand. All of that will give you so much of exposure. South Africa will give you so much of exposure and understanding of how to play in different conditions and how teams tick under those different conditions. What is their culture like? Because there's so much to learn from a culture. It gives you so much of an insight of how they approach a game. Today, when you play with cricketers in the IPL, you get an insight of what their psyche is, right? Why are people more successful in India today? The foreigners, when they come to India, why are they more successful? Because they have rubbed shoulders with our culture and they know exactly how we think under these circumstances. So they apply that to themselves and they become better players. We deserve a chance to do that.
That's a very interesting perspective. I'd have to say that, with me and my narrow thinking, I just, was concentrating of allow these cricketers to grow as just, batsmen or bowlers. But as you put it, I mean, there's a larger good at that, not just, as an individual player, but larger good for Indian cricket as such. As you say, you might just take up coaching, for example, in the future. So finally, before I let you go, what are you going to take? Because of the perspective that you're giving me, will you be a motivational speaker? Will you be a commentator? Will you take up coaching in the future?
For me, I think as a person, I like value wherever I go. Nikhil, I think as a person, I think what drives me in life is if I can add value to anyone I'm around. I think that's what kind of gets me going every day. And I think that's why cricket gets me. One, it's my passion and the fact that it gives me an opportunity to add value to my teammates and help them out in whatever shape or form that I can at that point in time. So for me, coaching is something that I truly feel like it excites me a lot. I've dipped my finger in the commentary pond and the analysis.
Yes.
And I've really enjoyed that. As a student of the game, I get to learn so much, man, especially the analysis bit, because commentary is ongoing. You're calling cricket as it happens. You sometimes don't have the space in your mind to kind of process what you're learning at that point. You have to kind of sit down and think about it for a while before you kind of say, okay, this is something that you can actually do. But when you're analyzing a game, so much that you learn, and I truly enjoyed analysis. Analysis was a lot of fun for me. I felt like I grew a lot as a cricketer especially when there's such great minds analyzing the game. You can ask questions, you can share your thoughts, and then when you combine everything that's been spoken about, you feel so enriched as a cricketer, and that truly excites me as well. So I don't know, though, that's all of that's too far away, but at the moment, nothing excites me more than playing cricket. So I'm looking forward to playing cricket.
Yeah, as I said, there is that light at the end of the tunnel, and even at the risk of people like me who make the money of cricket broadcast, even at the risk of me losing my job, I'd still say that you'd make a great commentator, anchor, or whatever else that you want to do in the future. But thank you so much, Robin, for taking our time and speaking to me, and I wish you all the best in this lockdown phase. But hopefully we'll get some live cricket very, very soon.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you so much, Nikhil. Thank you. This is a lot of fun. Catch up soon.
Thanks.
Take care.
See ya. Yes. Bye. Bye.